We begin our report with hundreds dead in Lebanon. According to Lebanese health officials, Israeli airstrikes killed nearly 500 people and injured more than 1,200 on Monday. It was the deadliest day since at least 2006, when Israel and Hezbollah last fought a war. Israeli warplanes struck hundreds of sites across Lebanon. The Israeli military says the strikes targeted the militant group, which has fired dozens of rockets into northern Israel. The Lebanese Health Ministry has not said how many of those killed and injured were militants, but it said women, children, and paramedics were among the casualties. As a precaution, the U.S. is sending more troops to the region. Charlie D'Agata leads off our coverage from the Pentagon.
John, both Israel and Hezbollah have stepped up attacks in this rapidly expanding conflict, stoking fears of a wider war. Israel says it struck around 1,800 Hezbollah targets. Lebanon says the airstrikes have killed at least 492 people, including dozens of women and children. Tens of thousands of residents in Lebanon have been fleeing north to escape the violence of what's been described as the deadliest single day in Lebanon in decades. Israel has been warning residents of Lebanon to evacuate, move away from areas where they say Hezbollah has been hiding munitions. Hezbollah has fired hundreds of rockets into Israel, the vast majority of those intercepted. Now, here today, the Pentagon spokesman announced more U.S. troops would be sent to the region, a decision made, he says, in light of increased tensions and out of an abundance of caution. He would not discuss specifics, but he described the deployment as a small number of U.S. military personnel. It's worth noting the U.S. already has around 40,000 troops at a number of bases across the region, in addition to the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier and a fleet of destroyers. That also includes a Marine unit ready to assist in case any evacuation is called upon. The U.S. State Department issued an updated advisory yesterday, urging all Americans in Lebanon to leave the country while commercial flights are still available. John?
Charlie D'Agata at the Pentagon for us. Thank you, Charlie. Jon Alterman joins us now. He is Senior Vice President and Director of the Middle East Program at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. John, good to be with you again. You and I have talked so much about the fear of escalation. How much more concerned are you right now? And you can ignore this if you want, but on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you in terms of your level of concern with what's going on right now?
You know, John, honestly, my level of concern is moderated by the fact that I think what really bad looks like is really catastrophic. That's where I would put a 10. That is where Hezbollah launches 150,000 rockets and missiles toward Israel. Israel destroys large parts of southern Lebanon and some of the Beirut suburbs. That's a 10. I think we're at about a 4 right now. It seems to me that Hezbollah is not showing that they're eager to escalate significantly. Iran seems to be in New York for the General Assembly meetings, sending a message of we want to talk to the world, we don't want to fight the world. It feels to me like the body language of Hezbollah, the Iranians, is let's not push this right now. And of course, Hezbollah is ill-suited to fight a war because they don't have communications that they can trust. So it feels to me like the Israelis see an opportunity to knock back Hezbollah. Hezbollah doesn't think this is the time to really push things, and Iran doesn't think this is the time to really push Hezbollah.
You know, John, the 1 to 10 thing can be a bit of a gimmick, and you answered that perfectly. So thank you for that. Let me ask you now, as far as Israel's concerned, isn't one war enough? Why, when you're dealing with Hamas in Gaza, are you launching what they are right now with Hezbollah?
I think the question Israelis ask is, why is Hezbollah trying to pick a war with Israel? There's been this very low-grade lobbing of missiles, of rockets, constantly over the northern border for about a year. 60,000 Israelis can't live in their homes because of this threat of Hezbollah rockets. You could argue that Hezbollah has been restrained, it's keeping them in a certain zone. But from an Israeli perspective, why is it tolerable that there's an armed militia across a border which the government of the state can't control that continues to terrorize Israeli civilians? After a year, enough is enough. And Israel has decided, and I think the military has felt this for some time, that if they don't remind Hezbollah of their destructive capabilities, Hezbollah will keep pushing the Israelis' buttons. And the Israelis have said, we're done with it. we're going to show Hezbollah what we can do. And I think what you've seen the last week is they've shown Hezbollah what they can do. Just one anecdote, which is remarkable to me. Israel called 80,000 Lebanese cell phones to tell people to evacuate. How they got the numbers of 80,000 people in the right zone to tell them to leave gives you a sense of just how much Israel understands about Lebanon. And if I were an Israeli and got that call, I'd say, how do they know where I am? I'm getting the hell out of here.
Yeah. U.S. is sending additional troops to the region. How do you read that?
The numbers I've seen are in the dozens, so I don't think it looks big at this point. The United States is clearly concerned that this could be the big one. I'm sure that the people in the intelligence community are very closely watching what the Iranians are saying, what Hezbollah is saying. It doesn't feel to me like they think this is really the big one yet. But if the big one happens, the United States wants to be able to be in place to keep it from really exploding and wreaking havoc in the entire region.
Jon Alterman with the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Thank you so much as always, Jon.
Always good to see you, John. Thank you.